A must-see video for those who think thread lifts have no effect, Part 2 shortened version. This is an explanatory video about the principle of lifting sagging with a thread lift. This is a chicken skin with a lump of meat on it. This is a model with sagging cheeks. I inserted the Aptus thread and pulled up the lump of meat in the middle. By distributing the weight to the left and right, the center is lifted. Let's watch a video of Aptus treatment in action. Insert a hollow needle from below the ear and pick up the target fat on the side of the mouth. Next, change the direction of the needle and bring out the tip of the needle near the side of your nose. Aptus thread is already inserted into the hollow needle, so by pulling out the needle while grasping the end of the thread can be placed in 3 places: under the ear, fat on the side of the mouth, and the side of the nose. When you tighten the ends of the thread coming out from both ends, the fat on the side of the mouth will be pulled up in a direction 90 degrees perpendicular to the thread, that is, upward. This is an image of pulling up slack with Aptus thread. Did you understand? Next is extosis. Similar to Aptus, 2 slightly longer threads with barbs cut out so that they only move in one direction are crossed in the center and tightened from all sides. This is an actual video. The threads are crossed around the temples and tightened from all sides, but since there is less soft tissue on the head side compared to the cheeks are tightened and lifted more strongly. Any bulges near the temples that occur at this time should be firmly suppressed and evened out. There seems to be some criticism that this area is just pinched and pulled up, but that's not the case at all. The whole area is evenly tightened. Next is spring Aptus. This is made from thread processed into a coil. When inserted in a stretched state, the soft tissue is sandwiched between the rings and fixed. This is the photo which the spring Aptus is actually inserted into the chicken. I have put together photos of before and after I actually pulled up the slack using these 3 types of thread. Lines have been drawn for clarity. If you look at the 6th and 7th lines near your ears, you can clearly see that they are drawn up. Let's watch a video to compare the differences between the cheeks of someone who has never had threads inserted and those who have had threads inserted several times. The cheeks of people who have never had a thread inserted will move easily if you move it with your fingers. If a person's cheek is pulled up by inserting the thread several times, it becomes difficult to move. Because it's toned. Next, I will explain the difference from surgical face lift. This is a model of Aptus yarn using rice cake and bean paste. When you insert Aptus thread, it will be pulled up like this. Let's use this model to think about the surgical face lift. The surgical face lift works just like this to lift up slack. In other words, it is pulled up by pulling and cutting the skin. When the rice cake is pulled, it becomes thinner. If the bean paste remained the same weight, it would not be able to hold up and would fall like this. This can be avoided by reducing the weight of the bean paste at the same time as cutting the rice cake. Therefore, when performing surgical face lift, it is better to remove as much soft tissue as possible, such as liposuction or sometimes the submandibular gland. However, it leads to a texture that feels like skin on bone. The silhouette looks beautiful, but when you look at it up close, it lacks softness. This is a typical surgical procedure called SM-mastectomy. This was proposed based on the idea that not only the skin, but also the fascia under the skin would have to be pulled and cut or sewn together to be pulled up properly. However, I want you to think about it carefully, whether it's the skin or the fascia, if you cut it out, it will become thinner and weaker in the long run. In other words, the surgical face lift is a minus surgery. The insoluble thread lift, on the other hand, is a plus surgery that adds support. The SMAS is strengthened by inserting threads that involve around the fascia. Therefore, sagging can be prevented. Rather than having the treatment done after the skin has sagged, it is better to have it done as a preventative measure while the skin is still young. Some of the content of this video was published in the December 2018 issue of Plastic Reconstructive Surgery Global Open. Please refer to it if you like.